jam you don't spread.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Radio Freak Jam, and we're here with Paul. There he is. He's got his name up as well and everything now. How you doing, dude? Oh, let's turn that off. You can't hear me now. We were talking fine a second ago. What have you done? We did have a little pre-show and it was all working fine, and you know, these things happen. Can you hear me now, sir? Hear me now. Talk to me. Talk. We can hear you. He went to get a drink. I reckon he's pulled the cable out or something like that.
Can't hear anything.
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
I can't hear anything.
You could before. Oh, well, let's see. This live. It's live, ladies and gentlemen. This is what happens. So we're going to chat with Paul today. We're going to get him to find out what's going on with his system. We were literally just chatting. Now we can't hear anything. He's going to go and check something. So, because it was working. It was working. You've got to love live entertainment, ladies and gentlemen. This is what it's all about. Can you hear me now, Paul?
No, still can't hear anything.
How very strange. Ladies and gentlemen, just I'm sure you can hear me out there. I'm just going to unmute and just check this now. Yep, they can hear me out there. So we're definitely...
Oh, I think we're going to get some juice.
I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to start with the video then.
Your unknown USB device is working properly.
Ooh, what does that
mean? No, it ain't.
As I said, we were talking before. Wispy hasn't got headphones on, no, but we were actually having a bit of a pre-show chat, pre-show chat, and we could hear each other, and we were chatting away, and then he got up to get some juice, and it's all gone horribly wrong since then. So we'll just wait. I'm sure he's just pulled a cable out or something like that. We'll try and tell him to put some headphones in as well, and see if that works. And then if that doesn't work, we'll try reconnecting with him. But as I said, we know it's working. It's all good. We'll get there. He's got his phone. He's now going to see the messages I've sent him. He's going to try putting some headphones in like we suggested. He's coming up on the left and he's going to take the jump, and it's a bit like a racing thing, isn't it? See if that works. Hello, can you hear me? Still can't hear me. Right. We're going to hang up. We're going to try again. Right, so hopefully Paul will join us again. He will ring back in. See if we can get this working. I'll tell you what, while I try and sort this out, let's play a video. We will have a bit of Replicant to start with, I think, because that's kind of where a lot of Paul's thing is. So this is Replicant with Comfortably Numb. In the meantime, I will try and get him back.
That's what the
Is there anybody in there? It's not even you. Is there anyone home? Come on, there. I hear you feeling tired. I can't ease the pain, but you your feet again. Relax. I listen to the
So, that was Replicant there with a bit of Comfortably Numb, Pink Floyd, as you all know. Paul's not back with me yet. This is all strange because we were sitting chatting very nicely about stuff and things and, you know, as you do. And then we started the show and he went to get some juice and he came back and it's all not working and his mouse wasn't working. His computer's just gone crazy on him, man. Absolutely crazy. So I'm going to fill a bit of time. You get to listen to me chatting instead of hearing all about Paul, which is what you've tuned in for, I know. But I have other means if we need to do this. It's not a problem. We can still talk about Paul without Paul being here. I have the facilities. We've got our birthday coming up, ladies and gentlemen. A bittersweet thing because, you know, it's been a wonderful, wonderful thing. It is worth celebrating. But for every Radio FreakJam episode there's been, it means we haven't been down the jam night on a Thursday doing these things properly. But, you know, it's a celebration of what we have achieved, which has been absolutely amazing. And I've been spending the past week pouring through the archives of Radio FreakJam and, yeah, surprising what we've done. Really, really is. I mean, I'm a very linear person. I sort of, you know, do a project, move on to the next. That one stays there, and I carry on. And it's not until you stop, take stock of what you've done, that you realise just how much we have done. And it's been absolutely amazing, the amount of people we've sat and talked to as co-hosts, as interviews, Meet the Freaks, and the Unsigned sessions. I look back at episode 0 and I've been poring over that for some bits and pieces, and that's quite cool as well. And you know, you can see just how far we've come from the technical issues that we no longer have. Oh no, sorry, wait. We're always going to have technical issues. This is the internet for you. But really, we have all of us, not just me and Tony, all of us as a community have achieved so bloody much over this time, and we should all be proud of the time we have spent in a time that we thought was going to be the end of the world is a plague. You know, what we've done with that time where we've been stuck in our houses. You know, as I said in my post the other day, we haven't been socially distanced. We've been physically distanced, and that's hard. But, you know, we have kept the social going. We have kept ourselves together. We've grown this community. We've met new friends, old friends, new music, old music, all of that sort of stuff. It's fantastic. So, you know, we're just going to sort of talk more about this and until Paul gets back. So what else can I bore you with? Oh, yeah, not going to bore you with that. Homemade jam, guys. You got a week to get your submissions in. I've had one. One homemade jam does not jam make or something. It certainly doesn't make a very good show. So I need your homemade jam tracks. Get them over to me. We'll do that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And I've been chatting with our professional chef today for our first bake jam competition. And Lindsay's going to come and join us. She's a professional chef. She works at the Haven Cafe up in Scarborough, which is a community cafe. So any profits they make, they put back into the community, which I think is a wonderful cause to promote, and which is what kind of, you know, made me decide that she should be our chef. And it looks like Paul's back. Paul is back. Hopefully. Dude. Dude, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can, yeah.
We can hear you, but you're very quiet, so can you turn up a bit?
Hang on a sec. Is that better?
Bit more?
Yeah?
Yeah, go on. A little bit
Okay.
more. A little bit more.
How about that?
Yeah, that'll do. Mate,
Okay.
the man of the moment, you're here. How you doing?
Yeah, not bad.
What happened? What have you broken? Anyway,
Cheap Chinese USB hub.
that will do it. But, you know, you're here now, and that's all cool.
Yeah.
You managed to fix it. And join us.
Luckily, I had 2 cheap Chinese USB hubs, so I'm now on my second one.
Always good to have a spare, I find. Do you know what I mean? Always good to have a spare. So, dude, tonight, it's all about you. So, thanks for coming and spending some time with us tonight and having a chat. We haven't had a proper chat in a while, to be honest. So, it's good to catch up, just you and me, if nothing else.
Yeah, stuff the rest of them. How many people are watching?
We've got about 25 people watching at the moment.
25, as many as that. Jesus. Hello, everyone.
I do believe your 2 daughters are in the chat room, or at least Cindy's in the
yeah.
chat room and Sean's watching as well.
Okay, cool.
So shout out to them, and Ryan, of course, if he's listening from Scarborough.
Oh, great.
So yeah, people want to hear about you, dude. So we play some Replicant. So let's start with Replicant. Obviously, Replicant is your main band. Give us a quick lowdown on Replicant.
Well, I've actually got a bit of news on that front. Basically, Phil had a phone call from Mr. Stoner, and he's hanging his guitars up. He no longer wants to do it anymore. So
Wow.
yeah, it's a bit of a bolt out of the blue. Said that since the lockdown's been on, he hasn't missed it, and he doesn't really want to go back to it. So Mr. Kevin Stead is back in the fold.
Wow.
So back to the original lineup, and we're all a bit excited about that. Obviously, it's a bit sad when someone loses the love for it. I mean, it's one thing to go off and do something different or go and join another band or something like that, but to not want to do it anymore is a bit sad, So
I think this time, he's not the first musician I've heard of sort of saying they've been pretty comfortable not gigging.
yeah. Well, he's been with us for more than a decade, and it's it's all very sad that he feels that way, but we're not going to stand in his way if that's what he wants to do. And obviously, Mr. Stead is more than a capable replacement. So
well versed in the set list as well.
And well versed in the set list. Yeah, it's not like he doesn't know the stuff. So yeah, the band rolls on. But
you do what you can. I mean, ultimately, I think this time has been a time for people to sit and reflect and work out, if they want to carry on down the route they were going. So fair play to Stoner, and good luck to him with whatever he decides to do in the future. I'm imagining he's going to do his magic more.
I should imagine he would be. Yeah, I mean, it's his meat and drink, and it's what he does. Essentially, is what he does for a living, and he's pretty good at it. So if he wants to concentrate on that, then I wish him all the best.
He tried to hypnotise me once.
Oh, I wouldn't have it, mate. There's enough people in my head as it is.
It didn't work.
I wouldn't even let him try.
But he did manage to hypnotise Holly. I do remember that down at the Rising Sun. And he had her walking around barking like a dog.
Yeah, he hypnotised Tracy as well.
What did he have Tracy doing? Or don't I want to know?
He had her thinking that Ryan was a disembodied head, walking around the place and stuff like that. And he did a bit for non-smoking as well, but didn't work very well.
Right.
But yeah. I mean, it's a long time, and we've been going since we first formed in 2003, when Kev was part of the original lineup, and apart from obviously when Kev left and Mike joined us, that's the only change to the lineup that we've had. So it's been pretty stable ever since we first started, which for as bands go, it's not bad.
No, not at all.
And yeah, we formed pretty much as a classic rock covers band, and so that's pretty much what we do. Bit of grunge, bit of classic rock, bit of punk, bit of prog. A little bit of something in there for everybody. But
loud and proud.
Yeah, loud as hell.
And I know you had a rehearsal lined up, didn't you, just before lockdown 3, was it, came in, or 2, or whenever? And that never got to happen. So is there any plans to get together soon?
Yeah, we're looking at it. Obviously, we want to be as legal as possible and whatever. We don't want to break any rules before we even get off the ground. But yeah, we definitely need to get some rehearsals together. We haven't really got any gigs at the moment. I mean, we've got a booking for Ted's gig in the summer, subject to holiday stuff, working out the dates and things like that. Because we're not sure whether Phil will be in Mexico or not at the time, and that's all dependent. That's dependent on the COVID stuff as well. So it's kind of a little bit up in the air. But
I thought he was banned from there anyway.
Banned? Yeah, well, that's another story you want to.
We don't talk about that incident. Turn yourself up a little bit more, dude, if you can.
How's that?
Yeah, that's what we want. Yeah, perfect.
Oh, okay.
Cool. So, so you've got no gigs planned, but so you're going to get in rehearsal or something like that soon?
Well, when I say got no gigs planned, we just got no gigs. like everybody else at the moment. So,
How do you feel about that? I mean, I'm seeing a lot of bands and artists advertising gigs on Facebook and stuff at the moment. We've seen downloads say, "Yeah, we're going ahead." No, we're not. How do you feel about that? About taking gigs at the moment? Is that something you'd be prepared to do, or do you think it's a bit too soon for that?
well, I think the problem is that as soon as all this lockdown's over, everybody's all going to be clamouring for gigs all at the same time. So obviously, a lot of them are trying to get in there early, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But we're going to have the first Saturday night that we can all get back to gigging. Who gets what and when? That's the thing. I mean, everybody's all going to want to do it at the same time, and there ain't enough venues to go around to accommodate that, and we don't know how many venues are actually going to survive until then either. So that's it's going to be a little bit of a problem.
Have you heard many of the venues you play at over this time, or has it just gone radio silence?
No, not really. It's other than what we've heard with what's going on with Mr. Bumble, and that through the FreakJam stuff. That's pretty much about it. We haven't really heard what's been going on anywhere else, to be honest. Well, I haven't, so maybe the other guys have. I don't know, but yeah, we need to do some work getting the gigs back in the diary again. But it's going to be difficult because everybody's going to be wanting to be doing exactly the same thing at exactly the same time. So there's going to be a massive clamour for slots, and I think landlords and whoever's responsible for booking the gigs, they're going to be inundated. They're going to be sick of the sound of the phone ringing, basically.
Yeah, totally.
That's the way it's going to be. So, but I think we'll use the time, obviously, to rehearse, get up to speed. There's quite a few parts of our set that Kev doesn't know yet, so he's going to have to get into that. Plus, there's probably some new stuff we're going to have to start thinking about doing, because we've pretty much the same set for the last 20 years. So. Well, it hasn't been. But...
Well, it's the same with From the Ashes, which we'll get to in a bit as well.
Oh, well, yeah. Well,
look, I mean, you and I, have been side by side for 20 plus years now, and it's been an absolute honour spending that time with you on stage. We've done Frequency together, we've done From the Ashes together, we've done the Frequency acoustic duo together. You were even my best man at the wedding. Here, I can show people this. Look, 1 second. So there you go. That's you and I at my wedding, dude.
You look really young, Ian.
So do you.
Oh, I don't know.
That was 2009, man.
2000. What was it? 12 years?
12 years.
Jesus.
So, yeah, long time ago, man. But, as I said, we've been together a long time. You and I met through the Jam Night, obviously, because Steph was doing the Jam Night with Nemo.
Well, no, actually, no, it wasn't the Jam Night. The Jam Night wasn't even happening when we met. We met at the Swan Inn in West Drayton.
No, we didn't. We met before that. We met at the Jam Night.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did. We met at the Jam Night when Nemo was running it. And that was before we took it over, but you were doing the Jam Night for Steph.
No.
Oh, no, you're right. No, you are right. It was Lee, wasn't it?
Yeah, the reason I got the Jam Night was because I'd done the PA for you guys at the White Swan.
That's right. Yeah, you're right.
Because I think Graham Barnard out of my previous band knew Lee Hegarty.
From The Flame, as they were at the time.
Yeah, and he gave him my number because he knew I had a PA, because I bought the PA off of Graham initially. And he asked me to come down and do this gig, so it was for Lee, and that's when I met you guys.
That's right.
And it was on the back of that Steph contacted me a few weeks later and asked me to come and do the sound for the new Jam Night that was kicking off down at Bentley's in West Drayton. And I was there the very first night.
You were. As was I, actually. I turned up as a punter at that
Did you?
point. Yeah, I was there.
I can't remember
Yeah, I
that.
turned up as a punter to come and watch. But yeah, I mean, because Lee Hegarty booked you to do the Flame gig. We went to the
It was supposed to be the...
what's it called?
I can't remember.
Anglers Retreat.
Anglers Retreat. That's the
We
one.
turned up there. They double booked us, or had no recording of the booking, or something like that.
No, the landlord was on hot. The landlord was on hot. Excuse me, I can't talk and vape at the same time. You can talk and smoke at the same time, but you can't talk and vape at the same time. Did you know that?
No.
No, well, you can't.
Oh, there you go. I've learnt that now. So, Radio
Yeah.
Freak Jam teaching you new things, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. But no, the landlord of the Anglers Retreat had gone on holiday and failed to tell the guy that was running the place that there was an event booked that night. So when we all turned up with, what was it, 2-3 bands, loads of people.
2 bands, wasn't it? It was The Flame and Ultra High Frequency, as we were back then.
That was it, yeah. And he was adamant that because he hadn't been told about it, it wasn't happening, despite the fact that there was loads of people, 2 bands, and he would have made a few quid off it.
Yeah.
The place was empty. But he's just one of these pencil necks that just didn't want to take it on board because it wasn't in the diary and he hadn't been told about it, and so it wasn't happening. And there we were, two bands, loads of gear, loads of people, ready to go, nowhere to gig.
So you and I took a trip up the road, didn't we, to the Swan?
Went up to the Swan.
And we told them we had a
Said,
shitload of people coming down. Can we have a gig,
Yeah.
please?
And fools that they were, they said yes. So the gig ended up being played at the Swan.
And it was a really good night. And we got a rebooking, and the Flame didn't, which I think pissed Lee off a little bit. So that's when I asked you, could you do some bits and pieces? And the rest is really history from there, because you were doing the jam night, then me and he who shall not be named usurped the jam night when Nimmo neglected his duties one night to go and hang around Steph. And then I was doing the acoustic duo, with Jim, which you'd done the PA for.
Yep.
And then
Well,
he who shall not be named took over the acoustic duo, and he left. And then you had about a week to learn about 30 songs.
Well, I think the first one I did as part of the duo was before Voldemort. Let's just call him Voldemort. Before he even did it, I was doing it before he even did it, because I think there was a gig in, I think it was Pinner, out that way. I can't remember the exact venue, but it was out sort of Eastcote, Pinner way. And Jim was supposed to be doing that for you, but Jim, having forgotten his guitar one night, actually forgot himself. And I ended up literally learning half a dozen songs in the car park outside, because I was the only alternative, because I had my guitar with me and the PA system and everything.
Yeah, because you always used to get up in our break and do a couple of numbers, didn't you?
Yeah, and I think that was the night that Jim forgot himself, and I ended up standing at the last minute, and that was the first sort of gig I ever got paid for playing a guitar in, which was different for me. And it kind of went, fucking hell, this is easy. I went in there knowing 3 songs, and like 2 hours later, I had enough for a set, and we went on and did it. I can't remember the name of the place, but it was out Pinaway, I'm sure.
I remember one of the first ones you done properly with me was at the Swagman's Rest, or BJ's as it was known to start with, down at the Royal Holloway Road.
Holloway Road, yeah. Yeah, I remember them well.
Yeah, so I remember them as well, but let's not go there.
Yeah, there was some nights in there. There was some good nights in there.
It
was a bit annoying for me because I was always driving.
Yeah,
so,
in your red curtain side pickup, which we used to stick the girls in the back on the PA, and they used to slide around.
Yeah, my old work transit. Yeah, it was really annoying because obviously I was doing all the driving and everything, and so I couldn't partake in the board of fare that was offered by the landlord. All kinds of interesting substances that were on offer, and I had to respectfully decline.
Saz says, "Okay, I already want to know who Voldemort is." Ian PM me hun.
Who was that?
Saz.
Just a mutual acquaintance who, shall we say, was a little bit beyond the pale in his behaviour.
Yes, that's probably a good way of putting it, Paul. I don't even want to talk about that story.
No,
it's too long and too arduous, and too many bad memories there.
Even though they're all desperate to know the story, we're not going to tell you. All right.
Yeah, some things need to be kept secret. But so you and I, the duo, we done a lot of gigs as a duo, man, up and down the country. Utoxeter. We drive anywhere pretty much to go and do gigs.
Musical sluts.
We were, and we'd literally sit there and play probably half the amount of songs in the set that we should have done, because of the rest of the time we were just taking the piss out of the audience or ourselves or each other, and then walking out the door going, how the fuck did we get away with that?
Yeah, I think the banter was half of the appeal, to be honest, because we just had a good laugh. Most of the time we were sort of like doing it with our mates or people who became our mates and stuff. People were just coming along for the crack. It wasn't so much just the songs and the playing and stuff like that. It was just the atmosphere, and it was the crack, and it was the banter, and it was having a bit of a laugh and all this kind of stuff. That I think that was what was a little bit different about it. It wasn't, nobody was taking themselves too seriously. Nobody pretended that they were great shakes at anything other than just, having a good time and getting, having a laugh with people.
I found 3 tracks from there. I'm going to play the live one because I think it does capture a bit more of what you're talking about, rather than the 2 sort of little demos we've done in your kitchen. So this is me and Paul as the Freak Ones here acoustic with a bit of David Gray and Babylon. So enjoy.
Here's a bit of David Gray.
Here's his leg, and I've got his eyeball.
What, a leg and an eyeball? Can't do much with that, really, can you? Sort of hop.
Yeah.
You would think of something like that. Friday night, I'm going nowhere. All the lights are changing, green and red. Turning over TV station, situation running through my head. Looking back on time, it's clear that I've been blind, I've been a fool. Opened up my heart to all that jealousy, that bitterness, that ridicule. If you want it, come and get it. Crying out loud, love that I was giving you never ends out. Going on, going on ahead, failing now. Going on, going on ahead, failing now. Babylon, Babylon. Saturday I'm running wild, all the lights are changing red to green. Running through the crowd, I'm pushing chemicals rushing in my bloodstream. Wish that you were here, I've seen it so clear, I've been afraid. Well, now I really feel admit to some of those bad mistakes I've made. Well, yeah, if you want it, come and get it. Crying out loud, love that I was giving you never ends out. You're going on, going on ahead. Going on ahead, baby, now. Going on ahead, why? Thank you very much. We like that one.
Hey!
There is life out there.
What's that then, Ted?
Yeah!
How many was in that crowd? 2.
Oh, God knows. That was when I got one of my first laptops, and I took it down. I had a really simple setup, and we took a line out of your desk just from your guitar and your mic and my mic, and that was it. And we just knocked everything down. It doesn't sound too great; it sounds very chorusy, but yeah, it's history, right?
I didn't hear my back. I normally did backing vocals on that. I didn't hear any. So
Yeah, you must have been having an off night, sore throat or something. I don't know.
something like that. Yeah. Yeah, we still got we nicked half the furniture at that pub, didn't we?
On the last gig, yeah.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
That was Dave, wasn't it?
That was
The landlord was Dave. The same Dave.
no, wasn't it George and Di?
No, it was Dave that took after George and Di, and Dave then moved on to that place in St Albans where we used to play.
Right, yeah.
And then we turned up at St Albans one day, and he'd nicked off with about 30 grand, and sodded off to Australia to his ex-missus who had divorced him a month beforehand.
Oh yeah, I remember him. Yeah. I remember nicking all the furniture out of the pub. I remember that.
That was it. All the tables and chairs ended up in your kitchen.
Yeah.
I think it was more than furniture as well. I think there were certain bottles of stuff which were going cheap.
Possibly. Yeah. Well, you just said help yourself, so we did.
Don't need any of this shit anymore. Take what you want.
Yeah, if you wanted to help yourself, we were at the door with the chairs, the tables, the fucking lot. It was great.
Because we used to do like lunchtime gigs at the Oast House and then go and play the Plough in the evening up the road, didn't we? Or we used to do like the Roadhouse in Covent Garden. We done that acoustically one afternoon and then flew up and played a gig at the Oast House later on in the evening and stuff like that. We were playing a hell of a lot of gigs as a duo.
We did, yeah. It was pretty much every Friday stroke Saturday night we were doing something, which was great. I mean, back in those days. Obviously, as a duo, you can play a lot more venues as well because a lot more of the pubs are more open to duos than they were to a full band.
That's right.
And it weren't bad money at the end of the day. So,
Spurs certainly thought we were knocking out.
yeah.
And we even done a couple of festivals with it, didn't we? Because we were doing the frequency stuff with the full band on the Saturday nights. But quite often, you and I were asked to go round and do busking. Do you remember that, Paul?
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, vaguely.
Vaguely, because so we were employed to do a gig where Paul and I would go around the campsites, turn up at people's campsites, sit down, play them a couple of songs, move on. Which sounded great. We were getting paid to do this. So we'd done probably about, 10 campsites. And by the time we'd done the 10th, Paul could barely walk, let alone play a guitar.
A bit optimistic. I don't think we quite got as many as 10, maybe 6 or 7 if we were lucky, because we were absolutely trolling by the time we got to the third site. Everywhere we went, people kept giving us drugs.
And alcohol. Have a beer, have a drink, join in.
Was,
yeah.
Happy days.
Mad times. And like the other time when the Hamsters were playing at Santa Pod, and the guy from the Hamsters, the lead singer from the Hamsters, had fallen off stage the night before.
Did his back in. Yeah.
And broke his ribs, didn't he? That's it. And he was struggling. And Pete, we used to call him Buddha, the stage manager, came rushing out and went, I might need you lads to go on because, they're really struggling up there. And I was like, right, no worries, I'll get the band together. Paul was like, I can't even lift my head. We had to go and sober Paul up with cups of black coffee, and then it didn't happen. We had to watch the band instead.
Luckily, we weren't needed because I was absolutely twatted.
Oh, I miss those days, man.
Well, you know how it is. I mean, you've done your thing, you've done your gig. It's the end of the night, and for the first time since you've been there, you can relax and have a couple of drinks because you haven't got a performance to think about. So, first thing you do once you get off the stage is a couple of them, and before you know it, you're off your tits. And then all of a sudden, the organisers come up, we need you to go back on stage. It's like, don't think so.
Of course, it was VW Woodstock, wasn't it? And we'd done 2 sets earlier on in the day with an Oasis tribute band in between us.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
And because we were all dressed as hippies, weren't we? And he came on, he went, "There's one thing I hate more than hippies is people pretending to be hippies." So at the end of the gig, end of our set, or no, the start of our second set after they'd been on, I went on and went, "There's one thing worse than Oasis, and that's an Oasis tribute band."
Yeah, he took it well, actually.
He did take it. He was actually a nice guy off stage. It was just
He was actually when he put his Liam persona on, coming over all hard, fucking hard, mate, and all this crap, But he wasn't. He was a decent bloke. He was all right.
I didn't want to do the accent or even attempt it because it would have just been insulting to someone somewhere and not Mancunians. So
yeah, well, I'm from Manchester, so I can get away with it.
You are, man. So just let's talk a little bit about. You grew up in Manchester.
Well, pretty much. I mean, I was born in Manchester. My family's pretty much mostly all from Manchester. I lived there till I was about 10 years old. Then moved to the Lake District for a couple of years, and then I ended up when I was sort of 10, 11 in Edinburgh. So I was educated in Scotland, lived there for most of my teenage years. Well, pretty much all into my early 20s I lived in Scotland. I lived in Edinburgh for a few years, then I went up to Aberdeen and went to Aberdeen University and stayed on in Aberdeen after I graduated. So I spent a lot of my life in Scotland. Didn't move back down to England again until 1988. So
and then you lived in America for a while as well.
Yeah, me and Trace went over to America for a couple of years. Her dad was working over there, doing his own desktop publishing business or whatever. Wasn't a great experience. Didn't really like it that much. Didn't work out too well. And to be honest, couldn't wait to get back home. I didn't like whether it was, we lived in Houston in Texas, whether it was just a Houston, Texas thing or it was an America thing. I'm not quite sure. But maybe if it was somewhere else, it would have been different. But there's only so much country and western you can take, and that is all you got. 45 radio stations with nothing but country and western. You couldn't find a rock radio station in Houston for love nor money. There just wasn't any. And all the bars and the nightclubs and the places you go to, it was all the same thing. It was all country and western. That was it. We do both types. We do country and western. Welcome to Bob's Country Bunker. In fact, the only place that I actually heard a rock song was in Willie Nelson's nightclub in Houston.
Right.
And what they all used to do, they all used to get up, they'd all be doing the country and western stuff like the Texas two-step, the line dancing stuff that they do.
Yes.
And it's quite comical because the place was packed, and obviously the guys they all had the cowboy boots on, so all you could do was clonk, 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 as they're all doing this Texas two-step. And then a Bon Jovi track came on. I can't remember. I think it was probably Living on a Prayer or something I should play. I thought, oh my God, a rock record. I can't believe it. And they didn't miss a beat. They just carried on doing the Texas two-step to Bon Jovi. And it was just the most comical thing I've ever seen.
Tim's in the chat room. He's saying Texas is basically a different country.
Yeah, it is. It's an amazing place. I mean, the amount of people in Texas that say, everything in Texas is the best in the world ever, despite the fact they've never actually set foot outside Texas. So how do you know? We got the best of everything in Texas. Everything in Texas is bigger. Like a lunatic asylum, is it? What was that?
Yes, but you've never been outside Texas.
Yeah,
we're glad you came back, because if you didn't, none of this would be happening now, really.
Well, it's kind of funny how things work out, isn't it? I mean, things just happen by accident, usually to me. But I never in a million years set out to be part of a band, play in a band, sing in a band. It was never an aim of mine. It was never a goal or anything. It just kind of happened by accident. And I think pretty much all the way down the line, it's always been like that. When I joined the first band with Phil, Renegade, way back in the early days, that was an accidental meeting in a pub. Just met some guy in a pub with the same AC/DC t-shirt on that I had on. We got talking. He said, you doing anything tonight? I'm rehearsing with my band. Do you want to come down? I thought, yeah, I'll come down. And went down to the rehearsal studio. sitting at the sidelines watching these guys play. They had no singer. They just so happened that I knew the lyrics to one of the songs. I'd never sang. I'd sang in the bath. I'd been in the choir before when I was a kid, but I'd never done any singing properly. You know? But I happened to know the lyrics to one. It was Thin Lizzy's Jailbreak, and I knew the words, so I just grabbed the mic and I sang the words and came to the end of the song, and they just went, "You're our singer." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" And then 2 weeks later, we were playing down the Brookhouse.
And then after that was Pack of Lies, right?
Yeah, well, Renegade sort of fell by the wayside when the lead guitarist Paul Brennan moved to Milton Keynes, and Paul didn't drive, so it wasn't feasible for him to come back and carry on gigging. So it kind of died a natural death. But it was only a couple of months after that Graham Barnard, the drummer of Renegade, God rest his soul,
Yes.
phoned me up and said he's putting together a blues band. Would I like to be the singer of this blues band? I said, yeah, okay. And again, it just happened. I didn't chase. I wasn't actively looking at being another band or anything. I just got the phone call and I said, yeah, why not? Let's go for it. So I joined Pack of Lies. That ran for a good 5 years, I think. It was a good band. We got a lot of gigs out of it, and it's kind of where I sort of learned my trade, so to speak. Renegade was a bit hit and miss. I hadn't got a clue what I was doing. Playing with like no monitors or anything like that. Just winging it every time. But Pack of Lies I kind of honed my craft a little bit in Pack of Lies. So and then that sort of came to an end kind of ignominiously. The bass player of Pack of Lies, a guy called Nigel Moore, who was the original bass player in a punk band, one of the founding punk bands called The Lurkers. He was the original bass player. I got on really well with Nigel. He was a really nice guy. And I turned up to a rehearsal studio one night, and this guy that I'd never met before was standing there. And he says, I'll introduce myself. I'm your new manager. We've sacked Nigel because we don't think he was committed enough. What the manager? What the hell is this? And he says, here's our new bass player. And I just went, I think you need a new singer as well. When I walked out.
Yeah, too right as well.
Yeah. Nigel was a friend of mine. And, we were just a band. We were just guys having a bit of a laugh and going out and doing gigs. There was nothing serious or professional about it. There's not in that way anyway. And then just to be confronted with that in a rehearsal studio out of the blue was just not where I'm coming from, So I just said, no, I'm knocking that on the head.
We've dealt with other managers in the past, haven't we, that have been very similar. It brings ego into pub bands, and with pub bands, we're all playing the same circuit, playing in pubs, not. Anyway, that's another discussion you and I have had many a time.
Yeah, so I came out of that, and it wasn't that long after that I got the phone call from Lee, and to do this Anglers Retreat gig for you guys, and that's where it all kind of really started. It all kind of took off, and from that came the jam night, and then oddly enough, it was when the jam night was on down at Bentley's that Phil and Rob and Kev showed up one night, and again, without me actively going out seeking it, and it's always the way it seems to happen with me, they just came in and said, we're forming a hard rock band. Are you interested in joining us as a singer? I said, yeah, of course, no problem. And again, that's the rest is history. That was nearly 20 years ago now, well, 19 years ago now. So
it's amazing, isn't it? And then you kind of moved into Frequency when Jules sort of moved on. You kind of filled his gap with Frequency. We've covered a lot of Frequency, so we'll play that. We'll play out with Frequency because we've talked about it a lot on the show. Yeah. We've played it a lot on the show. We had a whole Frequency unsigned session. If you haven't seen that, go and check that out. We talk about the album and all sorts of stuff. But From the Ashes, that kind of came from the sort of end of Frequency and the end of Wax's Little Sister, which was Andy's band.
That's right. That all started in the Crown and Treaty in Uxbridge.
That's right.
Because I can't remember whether it was we went to see Andy do the gig, and that was going to be the last one or something like that.
Yeah.
And he or he had the gig booked there, but
He had
couldn't fulfill
gigs,
it.
he had 3 or 4 dates booked, and that's all we were meant to do.
And he said to us, "Well, can you give us a hand?" And you know, he needs a singer, he needs a guitar player, he needs a PA, and all this kind of stuff. And obviously knowing him at the jam night and playing, we knew enough together to throw a set together. So yeah, we'll do it. And yeah, 15 years later, we're still here. So
Yes, we had PJ on the drums originally, didn't we, for a couple of gigs? His mate PJ, who was in Wax's Little Sister, and then Rob Utley came and joined us on the drums after that. But do you remember playing that Concord Club? That massive stage. It was one of our first gigs is from the Ashes.
Oh, that was British Airways.
Yeah, that's it. The Concord Club, wasn't it?
Yeah, the British Airways social club down. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it was a huge place. Yeah, it's just it's kind of weird. You know, everything's kind of like interrelated. You know, one thing moves on to the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. But if you weren't at the previous thing, the next one would never have happened, so to speak. You know, everything kind of followed on from the last one, all by accident. You know, I never, like I said, I've never actively sought out being in a band. It just happened. It just happened. Yeah, it's just.
Well, look, I've got a video from.
I'm far too probably able to get off my ass and go and look for something myself. I just wait for somebody else to come and ask me.
Lucky we all drag you out of your retirement, isn't it, eh? Look, I've got a video from when we were down the studio the last time we were allowed to see each other, and this is the last time we properly saw each other. And the memories, man. So this is from the Ashes at Josh's studio with a bit of tribute. Enjoy.
Oh no.
This is the greatest and best song in the whole of wherever the fuck in the world we are at the moment. Tribute. Long time ago, me and my brother Paul here, he was hitchhiking down a long and lonesome road. When up ahead, there shined a shiny demon in the middle of the studio. And he said, play the best song in the world or I'll lock you down. Down. Well, me and Paul, we looked at each other and we said, okay, we have played the best thing that came to our heads. Just so happened to be the best song in the world. Was the best song in the world. Look into my eyes and it's easy to see what I wanted to one big thing. It was destiny. 1, 2, 300,000 years or so, when the sun got shine and the moon got go and the back got go. Needless to say, the beast was stunned. Whip crack with his whippy tail, and the beast was done. He asked us, "Are you angels?" And we said nay. We are but men. saying, fuck all of this song. It's just a tribute. You gotta believe it. I wish you were there. Just a matter of opinion. Good guy, I love it. Be surprised if they ought to be shoving. This time around, rain won't fall. Which motherfucker will fall? To freak from the ashes. The only jab you can't spread.
There we go, from the ashes there, with a bit of tribute. And while we've been doing that, Cindy Lou managed to sneak on the call. I don't know how that was, but before we talk to Cindy, just a quick shout out to Hayden and Ian and Andy, of course, and Dave, who couldn't make the rehearsal, so we got Ian in instead. Shout out to the guys, and we miss you, don't we, Paul?
Pardon?
We miss them, don't we?
Yes, we miss them, apparently. Every bit as much as they miss us.
How you doing, Cindy?
All good, loving the memories.
There must be a lot of memories there for you, because you were coming out to the duo gigs with us at about age 12, wasn't it, Paul? We were taking her out.
Well, somebody had to do the driving, so.
Well, when Dad's saying all of these things being interrelated and everything like that, Ryan and I wouldn't be doing what we were doing if Dad hadn't been in the right place at the right time, sort of 25 years ago. So it's not just had the ripple effect on him and you guys, it's the next generation.
Well, let's face it, you wouldn't have existed if I hadn't been in the right place at the right time, in fairness.
Let's not talk about that right place or that right time, shall we now?
There's being a midwife, and then there's a conversation no parent wants to have with their child, or child wants to hear.
But we thought we'd bring Cindy on just to say hi, because I know that you haven't had a chance to see your family and bits and pieces over this time, and so yeah, we thought we'd bring her on to say hello.
Hello.
Shani's watching as well.
Hello,
I sent her the
Sean.
link.
Hooray.
I was like, do you want to watch the Harry and Meghan interview, or do you want to watch Dad being interviewed? So she's tuned into this.
Way better than Harry and Meghan, people. Way better than Harry and Meghan.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah. I purposely didn't set the record button on the movie. I have no interest whatsoever.
No, I don't think any of us do, mate, to be honest. Which is why we're here doing this. This is much more fun. Reminiscing about old times and acoustic gigs and frequency and all that sort of stuff. Look, we got a picture of Cindy actually. Let's have a look at this.
Right, go on. No, that's not Cindy.
That's not Cindy.
No, that's not me. Yeah.
That is.
That is.
Oh.
How old were you
God.
there, Cindy?
I reckon I was probably going by the boobs, probably about 15. That was when we all went up to Doncaster and hijacked that wedding.
Oh, that's right. I was wondering where that was.
Oh.
That was one.
Hello.
No, hang about. There we go. Sorry,
Oh.
wrong button. There we go. It's all good. I'm, still learning this new stuff. Yeah, that was George and Di, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Yeah, we went to do a gig for them in their new sort of hotel kind of place. What they failed to tell us was that there was a wedding on at the same time, and we ended up playing for the wedding.
That was
even though we didn't.
one of the most random weddings. But obviously, we had all our mates there, like Liz and stuff had all come over from Holland
yeah,
and
there's loads of
pieces.
us.
And then the bride walked in a pair of bright pink trainers
Yeah.
under a wedding dress.
No, I reckon it's the entire scene from Santa Pod. There must have been like 30 of us and the children.
Yeah.
So it was really weird when all of a sudden there was a woman in a wedding dress. We were like, what are they doing at our party?
Because the hotel was dirt cheap, and then we got it even cheaper because George and Di gave us discounts for so many people that were coming down. So I think we all paid about £10 for the night with breakfast, or something like that.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember
Well,
the
it
next
was great.
morning. I remember the next morning her cooking breakfast for 57, like £1.50 a head.
But you guys first got me up on stage, so it was literally trial by fire. I must have been about 13, no more than that, at Santa Pod because Steph had gone unwell, and yeah, I was dragged up, having never been on stage before. And Dad was like, "You can do it. You're gonna be fine." And I'm like, "Okay." 5,000 people.
It's not the amount of people that counts; it's the band you got behind you, Cindy. You know this by now, and you had a great band behind you.
5,000 people is easy to play to.
Yeah.
3 people.
Oh, yeah.
3 people is hard.
Yes,
it's even
that's
3
completely
people
right.
is even harder when you've done 5,000 people the night before, and then you turn up in Love Lane in Tottenham and you're playing to the 2 bar staff, the old man and his dog, and the landlord's daughter.
God,
Yeah,
yeah.
not bad.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah. And
I
then
really
it was-
lost my will to live when it started on Country Roads Take Me Home.
then it was no, they kept requesting Irish songs, and the only one we knew was Whiskey in the Jar, so we did it 5 times. And they were perfectly happy. They didn't care. So, you know any more Irish ones? Well, we know Whiskey in the Jar again. Yeah, that'll do. Do it again.
I think we've done a bit of Brown Eyed Girl as well. We got away with the fact that Van Morrison was Irish.
That's it. Yeah, all these tenuous links to Irish songs.
U2 numbers that we didn't really know, and
Yeah.
And still don't.
This was written by a guy who knew someone once who came from Ireland. And they're all going, really? Lapping it up. Oh, yay.
I think for you two, you've always been as thick as thieves, and obviously the acoustic duos was always followed by on the Sunday was always followed by Chinese in the Garden, and the amount of times that you guys would jam in the front room until 3 o'clock in the morning. Then we'd all my sister, my brother, and I would
Until we
find
got
you
shouted at by
hungover on the
wife,
sofa.
yeah.
Talking feet,
Yeah, talking feet. Yeah.
tattoos and ear piercings and stuff in your kitchen. It all went off, mate. It did.
Yeah, I think I got
best
yeah,
times.
I got my eyebrow pierced in the kitchen. I seem to remember.
Yep.
Yeah, so did I.
Yep. It was just debauched. Just
The
debauched
hair dye
times.
jobs. Oh, I've
Yeah.
had like 4 pints of cider. I really want to have pink hair right now. So everyone would someone somewhere would have hair dye in their bag or something, or run out to the shops down the road, and it would happen. And
Absolutely shocking, I tell you. Guns N' Roses, eat your heart out.
It was all that Chinese we ate, mate. That's what it was. That was the most rock and roll element of it.
yeah,
Pang's
Uncle
Cottage.
Wookie,
Oh, I
you're
miss
sleeping on
Pang.
the sofa again.
I miss a Pang's Cottage. That was good Chinese.
Oh my god, the buffet.
You can't do that kind of thing anymore, can they?
Well, no, like we went to Nebraska, and if you've never been to Nebraska, it's a Brazilian barbecue, and they just bring out racks of meat and cut it at your table, and it's awesome. But last time we went there, they used to have like a salad buffet, a bit like the old Harvester salad carts and stuff like that. They brought masses of stuff to your table, whether you wanted it or not, and just left it there. You got loads of food. It was great.
Yeah.
So, what's your first plans out of lockdown, Paul? Are you going to go somewhere? Are you going to book a rehearsal? What's the first thing you want to do when we can get out of this mess?
Well, no, the first thing we're doing, we're going to go up to Scarborough and visit the kids. Probably go via Sean's place. So because we haven't seen Cindy or Ryan for about a year. So that's first on the agenda, and after that, it's the same as everybody else. There's a lot of catching up to do, and go to a pub. That'll be good.
Jimmy and Gillian wants to know, Paul, if you had to play 3 songs in front of 80,000 people, what would you play?
If I had to play 3 songs in front of 80,000 people.
I think this refers back to a drunken conversation you had on Zoom one night.
Oh God, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was with Graham.
That's right, Mr. Graham from Daft.
Ever so slightly pissed, ever so slightly offensive as well. I thought he was outdoing himself. So in front of 80,000 people, I don't know. I mean, anything.
At the moment, yeah. Do you know what?
As a singer or as a guitarist?
There you go. I mean, whatever. Wild Thing. Do both.
Wild Thing. Well, I think the one song that I've done more than any other song ever is probably Comfortably Numb. So probably that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because that was the first song I ever did at the jam night. Because Steph actually, so do you want to do anything? So I got up and sang Comfortably Numb, and she's going, "Oh my God, I didn't even know you could do that." Because I've been doing the PA, I've been doing the sound and everything, but I never actually performed for the first couple of weeks. And that was the first one I did at the jam night.
Well, it seems typical. It's the first one that we played on the show tonight as well. Then
it's funny how these things work out, isn't it?
Yeah, if you're in the right place at the right time.
Right place at the right time.
So a trip to Scarborough via Shams to see. Obviously, you've got a granddaughter now, young, lovely Robin.
See young Robin, yeah.
She's not too sure about me. I'll be honest. Last time Sham visited, when she could,
she's a fine judge of character, is Robin.
I gave her chocolate and I let her watch Peppa Pig on my telly. I was doing my best.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Growing up fast. Growing up very fast, and great to see. Great to see when they develop into their own little personalities. How to sit and watch that happen is fantastic. It really is.
I think Sean's doing really well.
Yeah, she's fantastic. Yeah, it's.
She's a devoted mummy.
She is mother material through and through.
Oh God, yeah. Water off a duck's back and everything. Yeah, she's terrific.
I don't know where she gets that from, because it's not like your wife, the lovely Tracy, is like Mother Nature.
No, not at all. No.
She's pretty much been mum to every kid that's been around the FreakJam and the From the Ashes and the Frequency gigs forever.
The famous head counts on our days out.
Head counts. Everyone just stopped bringing food at one point, because Tracy would turn up with enough to feed 2,000 people, and there'd be a load of waste at the end of it. So we all ate it for her.
Yep.
Wake up, feed the kids cereal and all sorts of stuff. It was mum to everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I miss Santa Pod as well. We got to get back there.
Yeah, Santa Pod.
Yeah,
great memories.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, is it happening this year? I don't know. I haven't heard anything.
I haven't heard from Brian at all. I spoke to Brian very early on during this and haven't heard since. Obviously, he's in the south of France, so I don't quite know how they've been affected over there. I will catch up with him, actually, because obviously be interesting to see what's happening. But it's September. I don't know if he'll want to put all the work in beforehand for the possibility of it not going off.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's it's a major financial hit if it doesn't, is it? So
Exactly.
yeah. No, I can understand him not wanting to do it. But and even if it does go ahead, there's no guarantee that we'll be getting to play there. So
Well, this is it. It was an 80s tribute band last time. They were doing all 80s numbers. I'm surprised they didn't get us in because a lot of our sets from the 80s. But, you know, whether he's going to continue that through and just honour the bookings from last year, I don't know how it's going to work. So we'll have a chat with Bryzy and we'll see, because it would be lovely to get back there and camp out with everyone and drink and sing and be merry.
Got a lot of fun memories of our time at Santa Pod.
Do you know what? I was walking the kids to pick Tony up from work the other day, and they were talking about all the Santa Pod gigs, and it really is surprising, Paul, if you think about it, how many young children we've seen at those gigs that have sort of been a part of all of that.
yeah, I mean, loads of our friends at sort of, and our own kids as well. All probably had their first live music experiences at Santa Pod or VW gigs in general, not just Santa Pod. I mean, there was the Hertfordshire Showground, there's Utox at Earth, there's been a couple of places we've done, but I mean, most of it has been at Santa Pod.
Yeah.
And they've all kind of grown up with it, and there's a lot of kids there in the teens and early 20s now that have been going there since they were babies.
Yeah, and obviously we need Robin to get down to one of them.
We certainly do. Yeah,
she needs to be included in this. It's important.
Indeed.
Guys, it's 10:15. We're going to sort of say goodnight now. And Paul, thank you very much for taking some time out to spend with us.
Welcome.
And Cindy, thanks for coming on and saying hi.
No, of course. I
You
love
got
you
any
both
messages
loads.
for each other?
Miss you, Dad.
Miss you too.
Love you loads.
Love you more.
I love you too, Uncle Wookie. Stay safe.
We love you too, Cindy. Say your goodbyes, guys.
Oh, see you soon.
Adios.
You got any messages for the
Adios.
world outside before we go, Paul?
Stop.
Just stop. Everything just stop. We're going to play you out with some Frequency. Thank you very much, everyone in the chat, from joining us tonight and sitting and have a listen to us chat instead of tuning into Harry and Meghan. I think we are more important. We're going to play out with Frequency. Paul has chosen Machine. So we will see you later. Take care, guys. We'll see you Thursday with the Jam Night.
You'll be going